Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing great. So today we are looking at the British pound versus US dollar on the 1 hour time frame. For this setup I'm using 3 indicators among our suite of indicators. In particular I'm using the Breakout Pivotal Bars, which is the one that is coloring the candles here, either green, red or blue. And then I'm using the sentiment index down here, which is able to tell us the real market sentiment, either bullish, bearish, and the trend of this sentiment, so whether it is decreasing or maybe increasing like here. And then the last indicator that I'm using is the levels and zones, which is the one that gives us these support lines or resistance lines and their respective buy and sell zones. These indicators in particular for this setup, it's gonna be used only for extra confirmation. So to build the setup, I will be using the Breakout Pivotal Bars and the Sentiment Index, and I will look for extra confirmation from the levels and zones. So if we have a look at what's going on this pair recently, well, we can see that we had a major uptrend, and then we had in the most recent days we had a small retracement, and then probably we are going to get another uptrend, so another movement to the upside. Right now the price is a little bit lower than the previous high here, but it looks like we might get another upside movement. Why? Well, if we concentrate on the very last candles, we can see that we have a kind of a consolidation here. So we had an impulse here. Let me draw this for you. So this is an impulse, a long impulse, and then we are having a consolidation here. I'll draw this like this, and then I'll move it back. Okay, pay attention to be precise when you draw the consolidation. Okay, and then it's like this here. Fine. Okay, this is a consolidation and this is the impulse. At the same time, we have the bullish sentiment index, which is trending down, which is actually good because it means that you see right here in this area it doesn't have too much room left, so the chances are that either the bullish sentiments breaks to the upside, and so we should have another impulse here, another impulsive movement to the upside, or the sentiment index turns to the downside, so we have an increase in the bearish sentiment index, so the one red here can fall and increase to the downside. In such case, we would have a price action to the downside here, and in such case I will not be interested in this setup because it's not the kind of setup that I trade. So what I'm looking for is a break up, so a break to the upside of this consolidation and a continuation of this impulsive movement to the upside. And the good thing here is that if we get a break up of this consolidation, we should have a break above this resistance line. So this resistance should turn into a support, which is a very great confirmation of our overall look of the price action. So it looks like we have a setup here. If we adjust the consolidation, you see we had a break up here, but then the candle retraced, so it closed within the consolidation, so it was not a natural break up. So we must move the consolidation up here. The same applies for the sentiment index. So since this was not a natural breakup, we have to move it and follow the same trend like this. But the point here is that right now we have a breakup. It's a valid breakup because the candle closed above the consolidation and the sentiment index moved above as well. So it's a valid breakup. Let's now set the trade. So I want the target to be the same length of the impulse. At least most of the times when we have this kind of impulsive movements, what happened before is going to happen later. It's not always the case, so you can play around with your break-even point and follow the price as it moves, in this case, to the upside. But usually we have at least a movement of the same length. So I just clone this line here, and I want the movement to be of this length. So I just start from the bottom of the consolidation, and then I project the movement to the upside. So the target is approximately at this level here. And the trade looks like this. So I can set the target up here. Okay, I will set it like this. And then for the stop loss, I guess I can leave it around here, because maybe a little bit shorter. Maybe, let's see. No, this is probably a bit too small, so I'll leave it just here. Okay. If you want to be extremely conservative, you should set the stop loss down here, below the consolidation. But I typically don't do this because, I mean, when you have this kind of impulsive movement, it just goes, maybe it just moves sideways for a little bit, and then it moves to the upside quite rapidly. So I'm usually confident that it won't get back, especially when you have this kind of setup with the sentiment index breaking up, and also considering the fact that the price just moved above this resistance. So it broke to the upside the resistance, and the resistance is now a support. So we should enough safe that the price will not jump back. Moreover, right now the risk-reward ratio would be about 2.5x, which is good. I usually trade when the risk-reward ratio is above 2. If I would leave it below here, the risk-reward would be below 2, so I would not take this trade. In this case, if I set the stop loss to be here, then the risk-reward is 2.5, which is acceptable for me. Of course, it's for me, guys. For you, it depends on your trading strategy, it depends on your risk, so be sure to test the indicators yourself. And by the way, if you want to test them, you find the link in the description down below. But test the indicators, understand how the indicators can fit into your strategy, and then build confidence and start trading. And just start trading without any emotion. So, okay, the setup is done and we are ready to enter into this trade if the price moves here. Okay, so we are a few days into the trade now, and what we can see is that initially this support line acted perfectly, because as you can see, the price never went back below this resistance, which the assumption that we made by setting the stop loss here was valid. Then unfortunately the support ended and it started a resistance up here. But the fact that we have an up movement, and the fact that the price actually never went back down below the entry price, almost never, except for this tiny movement here, but it never went back down, and it just moved between our entry price, which is the initial breakup, so the initial impulse to the upside, and this resistance here is still a good indication that the price should move to the upside. And in fact, it's now moving to the upside, and this resistance, well, it appeared to be a resistance, but it now turned into a support just like before. So this is a great indication that the price should continue to rise, and hopefully we will get to our target up here. The sentiment index just popped to the upside, so the same was true here. So if you would have drawn a trend line here, you can see that the bullish sentiment just break above. So again, it's a great indication that the price should continue to rise. Let's see what happens. So we just reached the target up here. It's now about 5 days that we were into the trade. So for about 5 days we got a 2.5 return, which is it's okay. I mean, it's not exceptional, but it's good. It means that we could potentially lose the next 2.5 trades and still be profitable, so it's great. But the most important thing is, of course, that we increased our trading account. So the target was reached. It was a pretty, I wouldn't call it simple trade, but it was pretty obvious because we had an impulse here, a very nice consolidation just below this resistance line. This resistance line turned into a support at the same time that we had the breakup. The same applied with the sentiment index, which broke up at the very same time. So everything was confirming this impulsive movement. The price kind of moved a little bit sideways for a couple of days, and then it finally made the final movement. So we reached the target, and I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, be sure to like it down below. If you have any question or comment, feel free to ask down below as well. And if you didn't already, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.